Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a special edition. Settle down, folks. Settle down, folks. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a special edition of the Politicking with Mr. B. Our regularly scheduled program is being preempted. We have a number of things of breaking news that we're bringing out to you, folks. First and foremost, what we're going to do is we'll be talking about. First off, we've had reports, a number of reports, ladies and gentlemen, coming out now that apparently Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States, who is seeking the presidency of the United States, is apparently had been having a town hall type meeting or whatever it is meeting here in the state of New Hampshire, and we had been told a number of times that she was going to be holding it somewhere in Portsmouth area. It was kept very quiet, undisclosed. There were a number of people, ladies and gentlemen, that apparently had been turned out. All of the people from the Granite State who apparently, according to reports, and I have had reports from several different people. I myself did not see this, but there are several people all who have reported exactly the same thing, that people from New Hampshire were turned away from this program that was going on, and buses were brought in from out of state. From Massachusetts, license plate buses were brought in, and people were ushered in, and people were told, well, this is by invitation only. And they bussed in people from out of state, reportedly, to attend this very thing. We have this slide here from messages. Kamala Harris campaign has told people that the rally can't leave because the buses they used to bus people in from out of state are not operational for another 30 minutes. The announcement came over the speakers. This is at the rally, and the crowd already waiting in line crying, no! Well, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. We have another slide here of something else, an update from local group on Facebook. Here are buses coming from Massachusetts to Kamala Harris's event today. And Karen Levitt, wow, just received this message from local New Hampshire radio host. Will the press covering Kamala's event today ask why she can't get any real? And as it goes on, any real, I would expect Granite State people. But there you are, Yankee bus lines, and those buses, having been in New Hampshire for quite a long time, and before that living in Massachusetts, I do know that that is a company that it comes out of Massachusetts. And we have this as well. Will the press cover? Oh, could you zoom in a little bit more on that lower? Scroll down, please. I'm getting the images from listeners on the Seacoast who are saying, for your information, that the people going to the Harris event in Northampton are coming in from Massachusetts on buses. They've counted 4 full buses of people, all from Massachusetts with license plates coming in, not New Hampshire voters. Well, I think the Kamala Harris campaign is going to have a little splaining to do, Lucy. Well, all of that having been said, I'm sure this is going to bubble and boil and gerbil and gerbil over on all of the different media outlets, ladies and gentlemen. That's all fine and good. We have something far more sinister, apparently, has taken place. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard me speak a great number of times about school shooting and the need for people to be armed respondents inside the schools. And today, if anything proves that that is actually the case, that is what would help, it is there was a school shooting all the way down in Georgia today, just about an hour outside of Atlanta, I believe to the northeast. What we do know so far is that 4 people are dead, 9 people are also wounded, and that is just people wounded, I believe, by gunfire, to say nothing of all the other people who are walking wounded, who are in shock and traumatized by this horrific happening. The suspected shooter has been named, a fellow by the name of Colt, C-O-L-T, Gray, G-R-A-Y. Reportedly age 14, was a student at the school, which was Apalachee High School in Georgia. The four decedents are reported to be two adults and two youth. And of the adults, I'm told one was a mathematics teacher, and there was a harrowing story that this mathematics teacher was shot and wounded, and other students summoned their courage, were tremendously brave, should pin medals on all of them and be given awards. Grabbed this fellow, dragged him into where it was safety, and they gave him as much first aid as they possibly could. Tried, they really had striven to do what they could to stop the man's bleeding, but unfortunately, it was not enough, and the man succumbed to his wounds. Uh, they apparently reported this to the police when, as soon as they were brought in and made contact with the police. And I know that they tried very hard to save that life. However, unfortunately, they were not able to do so. On-site school resource officers quickly intervened in the matter of this, and they were able to take the suspected shooter into custody alive. So they deserve a great deal of thanks and applause, and thanks very much. I'm going to step forward here for a moment. I want to give you, there was a report from a student about how this started. I want to let you, before I get into any other information, it was a student by the name of Layla Sayaratha. Sayaratha. I'm not certain how to pronounce it properly, who reportedly stated that the suspected shooter left algebra 1 class in this morning. It was just after it started in the beginning, and he had returned to the class nearly at the end of the class, but was not readmitted to the store. Someone saw him outside the classroom, went to open the door, saw apparently a gun, did not admit him, and the shooter, suspected shooter, I should say, reportedly left there, went to a neighboring classroom, and gunfire erupted. Thank God that the person at that door did not open it. Georgia Bureau of Investigation reports Gray will be charged with murder and tried as an adult, which is something that I absolutely, positively, 100% support. This is exactly what needs to happen. Further, that there is no information as yet as to the motive. They're still in the middle of their investigation. I'm sure they're going to be going through interviewing family members, friends, whatever they can, and trying to hunt and peck through things on computers and cell phones and social medias and whatever else they can possibly find. There has been no mention whether or not any sort of manifesto has been written. There's been no statement as to whether or not this person was an outcast, whether he was being bullied or whatever. There's still no information at all about any of this. Reportedly, at about 10:20 a.m., the local sheriff's department received a report that there was a school shooting going on. Law officers quickly responded, and Gray is said to have quickly surrendered when he was confronted by the school resource, one of apparently two school resource officers. However they did it, they caught him and they stopped the incident from continuing on and took the young man, into custody. And we applaud that. This is something that is absolutely necessary. If this does not prove to people that armed respondents inside a school can stop a tragedy from happening or stop it from getting worse, I don't know what will possibly convince them. Here we have someone who was in the school, and we do not know what kind of gun. They're being very tight-lipped about this. They are not releasing any such information about what the brand or type of gun is, whether it was a handgun, whether it was what they call an assault type rifle, an AR-15 style clone or whatever else, or it could have been an M1 Garand for all we know, or an AK-47 style gun, or a Kalashnikov style clone gun. God knows what it was. We don't know what it was. But one thing we do know is Two people, two armed school resource officers on the property, were able to stop the carnage quickly. And because of it, countless people have gone home alive, unscathed by bullets, uninjured physically, mentally and emotionally, of course, absolutely. I don't know anybody at all who can go through something like this and not be somehow affected. Staff members, students alike, all of them. They have made reports that now they are going to close the school for the rest of the week, of course, while they're continuing on with their investigations. And I'm sure they are making arrangements. I'm certain that they are making arrangements for counseling to be brought in and so forth. The GBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigation, is there. I believe the Federal Bureau of Investigation is probably, as well as the ATF, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms people, will probably almost certainly be brought in to continue on with this investigation and find out what's going on. We do have some video, and I want to thank very much all of the efforts of our engineer, Mr. Blazeman. Mr. Blazeman, if you've got something in queue, can you bring it in so we can get these images up before the people so that they can see for themselves what it is I'm talking about?
We're standing on the campus of Apalachee High School here at Bexar County Schools. First and foremost, I want to lift up our community. I want to give our sympathies to our community, our school system, our kids, our parents that had to witness this today. Obviously, what you see behind us is an evil thing today. At about 9:30 this morning, we received the first call that there was an active shooter on this campus. We're not releasing any information as far as injuries, but we have multiple injuries. This is a very, very fluid investigation. It's very early. And I have asked the assistance of the GBI and the agencies here behind me today, and there are multiple agencies that responded this morning to help us and help the sheriff's office. We do have a suspect in custody, and we are asking for your patience as the media to please let us get the facts that we need to make sure we get this right. Again, I've asked the GBI to help us, the sheriff's office, to help us along with this. I know this is not what you want to hear, but I'm not going to answer questions after this is over with. But I wanted to give you the respect and our community respect to let them know what was going on initially. We're in the process of reunifying our students with their parents. Obviously, that's chaotic, but we want to be respectful of them and their privacy as well. I want to thank the state, the federal agencies, the local agencies that showed up today, as you can see, the multiple EMS and fire from other agencies that responded today. Again, I ask that you lift up Bexar County Schools, lift up Apalachee, lift up our agencies. This is going to take multiple days for us to get answers as to what happened and why this happened. But I wanted to give you a statement. It is our hope, in conjunction with these people behind us, that we can give you another statement around 4 o'clock, because I know you have to go back on the air. That is my hope. But I wanted to be fluid with you all, understanding that it's fluid as well with this investigation. I appreciate you being patient with us. Again, it's very active and is ever developing. Every minute is developing on what we're finding. So we're going to have releases from other schools. Again, we ask that you be patient with us. Please be patient with us. And hopefully I can give you more information or more better information, if you will, this afternoon. Thank you all for coming out here. We'll be back shortly, okay?
Sheriff, it's been widely reported that people are dead. Is that true?
I'm not releasing any information. We have multiple injuries.
Can you say if the person in custody is an adult or a juvenile?
I'm not releasing any information. Guys, I'm not going to answer any more questions this time, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so
as you can tell, we do have more information now than that was something that had apparently come out earlier in the daytime. We do have more information. Again, I'll run over it. We do have 4 people that are confirmed dead, 9 that were physically wounded, brought to area hospital or hospitals, and the suspected shooter is a Colt Gray, Gray. Stated age was 14 years old. Was apparently a student at the high school, the Apalachee High School. The 4 decedents are reportedly 2 adults, one of which was reportedly a math teacher, and 2 young students that were there as well, 2 youth. The names of those people, of course, are being withheld out of respect for the families. And maybe they need to make notifications and so forth. And it's just not right to be going and splashing those over the news right now. It's unimportant at this time to be reporting those things. I'm sure you'll agree with me. On site, the school resource officers that were there acted so quickly they were able to take this down and stopped what could have been a horrific amount of injuries and death that happened. Again, they had two school resource officers on site that were there, and when the reports came in to the sheriff's department, very quickly, law enforcement officers were responding and gotten out to that location, and were able to take charge of the situation and get ambulances rolling and so forth, and get all of the assistance needed for investigation and piecing things together and whatever else. The important key to this we have now is that the suspected shooter has been taken into custody alive. This shows a tremendous amount of professionalism and restraint by the officers, who are certainly exactly the right people to be exactly where they were, because this proves it. We do have some video to put up, and I will caution, ladies and gentlemen, this is information that if you are in any way disturbed by hearing about things like this, please don't watch it. But we have information. We have video with information coming from young persons talking about the shooter. Let's bring that in. Mr. Blazeman, if you got that, you can go ahead and roll it.
I thought I was gonna die. It sounded so close, I'm sure it was, because it was right near. I don't know exactly which door, but you hear bang, bang. It's something you never think will happen, like you pray about it every day, like, Lord, just let me go to school safe, and then there's...
I was looking in the mirror and I hear doom, 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 doom. Like I started running in my classroom's right in front of the bathroom, so I ran to my classroom. I'm just banging on the door. I'm like, bro, let me in, please let me in. My teammate Hunter, he comes running and he pushes the door open, and I finally get in.
I was praying. I told my classmates to pray. My classmates were praying, and then the cops came in, so everybody put their hands up, and rightfully so. They told us to get out, leave everything that we have, and like we look around and I saw this like kid like laying on the floor, dead, right, with detached AR on the floor, and they just told us to keep our heads straight, make sure not to look around.
If something like this can happen here when you think it's a normal day, it can happen anywhere, and that's what really hurts.
I cannot imagine, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot imagine what these children who get up in the morning and put their clothes on, and they're lucky to have whatever they have for their breakfast or whatever they do, whatever their morning's routines is, going out to a school at a place and expecting to learn, to gain information, to be a part of a community and make friends and learn and be with people and socialize, be cast into this. Many, many times I have spoken about this, that this is a problem that must be addressed. I do not have any information whatsoever about whether or not this person was a social outcast, whether or not they were bullied, whether or not there was someone who had some sort of difficulties in the school system that they didn't like, whatever it was. I don't know. None of this information has been put forward yet. Eventually it will. But more often than not, in instances of school shootings, it comes back to the person who was the perpetrator was victimized by bullying, by people who treated them wrong poorly. That must be stopped. If you go through the annals of history of all of these school shootings, go all the way back to Columbine. Look what happened with those boys. Look what happened in Sandy Hook. Look what happened all over the place. In almost every single school shooting that's happened, you've heard stories of bullying. It's not the guns. What has happened, apparently, is a very difficult manifestation for people to understand. But it is real, and you're seeing it. We've got another video to show you, folks. And then after that video, we're going to take a little bit of a break. Mr. Blazeman, you got another video in the queue? Please go ahead, cue it up, and let's have a look.
Charlene says she was in the classroom with a substitute teacher with other students when they started hearing gunshots. Tell me, how did all of that play out?
I was just like doing my work, and like some minutes after, like I heard some gunshots, and it appeared to be like they were like that. You know, this is serious. So that's whenever like we all like shook to the corner, and somebody closed the door. I don't know who closed the door, but somebody closed the door, and then they started stacking up tables like on top of the.
So barricading the door.
Like barricading, like keeping it safe. And after that, like the announcements came on, and that's when like they were like it's a hard lockdown, intruder drill, and then we were all like kids started crying, kids started freaking out, like everybody was just there, like, and we were just like all like laying down, and I was just telling everybody like it's okay, like God got us, like we're gonna be okay, like.
Truly a disturbing thing to have a child go through. No matter whether these are kindergartners or these are seniors in high school, they are still our children. And this is not what they should be going through. This is a terrible thing to have happened. And only time now is going to tell exactly what else is going on. My own personal guess is that somewhere along the line, there is some sort of a notebook or a manifesto or some sort of a notification that something's going to be happening, that something was going to happen, or some sort of planning, because it doesn't just turn around when someone just wakes up and I think I'm going to go out and do a school shooting for no apparent reason. It's there. But now it's only a matter of time before we find it again. All right, we're going to take a short break here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll come back in about 3.5 minutes. Got to pay a couple of bills and do a couple of other things. I'm Mr. B. This is a special edition of Politicking with Mr. B. We will come back and we'll continue on with this. By the way, if you'd like to get in the queue, pick up the phone, 508-974-4231. Call in. Let's hear what you have to say about this. I'll see you in about 3.5 minutes.
My name is Steven, your Public Relations Officer at FFN Media Network. We believe that every story deserves to be heard. Every voice deserves to be amplified, and every idea deserves to shine. As a small media company, we are committed to creating a platform where content creators, visionaries, and changemakers like you can thrive. You might say to yourself, why do we need FFN Network? Well, let me tell you what we can do for you. 1. Our mission is simple: empower, elevate, and engage. We are not just another media outlet. 2, our producers will help you build your show, add content, and put you on 15 different platforms. 3, we help you promote your show. Whether it is through captivating articles, thought-provoking videos, or inspiring podcasts, we are here to help you make a difference. What sets us apart? At FFN Media Network, we embrace hard work. Our team of talented producers and creators come from all social classes, ensuring that our content reflects a rich tapestry of experiences, cultures, and viewpoints. Join the FFN team. Join FFN Media Network and be part of a community that celebrates creativity, authenticity, and positive impact. Let us amplify your voice and share your story on FFN Network and with the world. Get to know our founder, Blaise St. Pierre, the new guy in the media industry. So if you have a great idea for a show or a business and want to place an ad on FFN Network, give us a call at 774-704-5145 or email us at ffnnetwork9@gmail.com and join the FFN Network family. Thank you. FFN Network.
Well, I've got spare parts from my last broken heart. Somehow more than what I had to start. Yeah, I've got spare parts. I tried to fix it best I remembered it. I hope it runs when I fire it up, 'cause I got spare parts. So if you see something that you might need, anything you can use, what's left of it might be a perfect fit, 'cause I got spare parts. Took a piece of you, like lovers often do. I'll try to make it good as new, 'cause I got spare parts. So if you see something that you might need, anything you can use, what's left of it might be the perfect fit, 'cause I've got spare parts. What's left of it might be the perfect fit, 'cause I've got spare.
And good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Welcome back to a special edition of Politicking with Mr. B. As I had said before when we opened up, we have preempted our regularly scheduled program because of the incidents going on down in suburban Georgia. Shortly, sometime after, a little after 10 o'clock in the morning, the ordinary, everyday, humdrum things that happen inside a school where students are learning were for the hallowedness of those halls were forever changed when apparently gunfire had erupted. What we know at a school called the Apalachee High School in suburban Georgia, about an hour away from Atlanta itself. Uh, there are 4 people who are dead: 2 adults, 2 young children, 9 people who are wounded, and of course other people that are or have been shocked, traumatized, forever changed by such an incident. The suspected shooter was taken into custody very quickly by actions of the school resource officers that were on scene. It is imperative for people to understand that without them being there, this carnage could have been horrifically worse. There's no telling how many people could have been additionally injured. But anyway, at about 10:20 in the morning, the local sheriff's departments were notified, and law enforcement officers were dispatched and quickly responded to the school. Thankfully, they were able to help. However, one harrowing story about some students that had taken a teacher that was gunshot wound injured, brought him into an area that they believed to be safe and did their very level best to administer whatever first aid care they could possibly give. However, that person subsequently had died. And it is unconscionable to me that children go through such things of this nature. Thankfully, again, the school resource officers were there and were able to put down the carnage. They actually took the person suspected of having committed these crimes into custody alive. So these people really did do everything. They exercised profound restraint, and they did their job the way it is. And it is said now that the suspected shooter will be charged with murder and will be treated as an adult in that setting. All right, we're going to move on now, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another situation. We are all very much aware of what happened almost a year ago on October the 7th in Israel at the hands of disgusting Palestinian extremists who launched a sneak attack surprise war and unleashed such incredible, unmentionable carnage on human beings. The worst one-day killing, mass killing of Jewish people since the time of the Holocaust in the 1940s. However, there is an established history. Now, there are a great number of protests going on across America, college campuses out in the middle of cities, people marching and closing down roads saying they want to free this, that, whatever else, not realizing what it is that they're supporting. And quite frankly, I myself personally have been fed up with this crap. So it is time that history be again instructed. Mr. Blazeman, we have a video of 1972 Munich. What happened at the hands of Palestinian extremist terrorists? Please, Mr. Blazeman, if you got that, why don't we go ahead and launch that?
This is an ITN news flash from the Olympic Village in Munich, where early this morning armed Palestinian guerrillas raided the sleeping quarters of the Israeli team. The gunmen shot dead 2 Israelis and are now holding 20 athletes and 6 officials as hostages. The guerrillas are demanding the release of 250 Arabs held prisoner in Israel and have set noon as the deadline for their release. Negotiations are going on with the German government. The raid happened at about 4 a.m. A liaison officer with the Israeli team takes up the story.
Police told us that between 4 and 5 o'clock this morning, a group of Arab Palestinians terrorists rushed inside the building, killed the coach of our wrestlers, Moshe Weinberg, and took as hostages some of our sportsmen. Afterwards, they gave an ultimatum that until 12 o'clock today, some of the Arabic terrorists who are held in prison in Israel must be released, otherwise are going to kill some of the sportsmen who are staying there in their hands.
The Arab Palestinians are in control of the Israeli bloc?
I don't know if the whole block, but at least at one of the entrances, which have some of the Israeli sportsmen there.
How was the Israeli killed?
I don't know, but as I can assume, he was killed in his bed.
After the shooting, the Palestinians allowed an ambulance to drive in to pick up one of the wounded Israelis, but the ambulance men retreated without him when firing suddenly started between the Palestinians and the police. The Israeli died soon afterwards. His colleague died in the flats. Nearly 500 German security police have now sealed off the village and are mounting heavy machine guns in the square. They are keeping cameramen and television reporters and spectators well away. The guerrillas have just announced that they are demanding to be allowed to fly out of Germany to an unnamed destination once their demands have been met. Meanwhile, with an hour to go to the deadline at noon, the Olympic Games...
For those of you who don't know how that worked out, it didn't. It didn't. They were killed. They were all killed. What is it that causes people to believe that this time it's going to end differently? Especially since we just saw Palestinian extremist terrorists take 6 hostages they've been holding for almost a year and execution style shoot them. All the while dangling them as a carrot to try and get some kind of a deal. These people don't want a deal. These people don't want to have a ceasefire. These are terrorists who want only to prolong and exact the carnage for as long as they possibly can, trying to break down the will of the people. And guess what? If we keep seeing this, if we keep tolerating these peaceful protests that have Israeli students and Jewish students and students who have nothing to do with any of this so terribly frightened, if we continue to support this and allow this to happen, they're not going to stop. It's only going to get worse. Look back at 1972, the Munich Olympic massacre. Don't take my word for it. I'm a guy sitting here with headphones and oxygen going in his nose on the internet. Don't take my word for it. Look back through history. It is recorded. It is there. We don't need to let this keep happening. Mr. Blaisman, you got something? Go ahead. Light it up. Let's see it.
September 5th, 1972, 8 men in tracksuits hopped the fence at Munich's Olympic Village, carrying with them Kalashnikov rifles and grenades in duffel bags. An affiliate of the Palestine Liberation Organization. Their mission was to hold Israeli athletes hostage and demand the release of 236 prisoners, 234 in Israel and the 2 leaders of the West Group Bader Meinhof terrorist group. But the mission failed. About 20 hours after it began, 5 of the hostage takers were dead, along with 11 members of Israel's Olympic team and a German policeman. American swimmer Mark Spitz reflects on the 9 days in Munich that changed his life. At the 1972 Olympic Games, he won 7 gold medals and broke 7 world records. The day after his final gold, he was thrust into the unfolding tragedy of the Israeli hostage crisis.
So I was thrust in a unique situation. In one sense, was I a spokesperson for who? To be a Jew? Well, that's kind of an interesting position to put some pressure on somebody who's 22 years old. I wasn't a rabbi. I wasn't involved with an expert set of tools and knowledge about a lot of things to basically answer questions in a way that may have been expected of me. I did the best that I could at the time. Today, it's still the same answer, which is it was a terrible tragedy for not only those athletes, but for the Olympic movement and for the families in particular. And we're still talking about it today.
The Munich massacre of September 5th to 6th, 1972 left repercussions on an international scale, waking up Western governments to the threat of terrorism, showing the power of live broadcast and setting the stage for future violence. A ceremony to mark the 50th anniversary will take place in Munich along with German and Israeli leaders. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
WION is now available in your...
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's not me talking. I'm not making this up. I'm not pulling it out of the air. If we continue to allow these things to be happening, these protests and whatever else, if we continue to allow our American people to be supporting, offering support, and speaking in favor of, and acting in favor of terrorists, it will overrun and overtake our own country. We cannot have this. This does not belong here. This is wrong. I do not support any of this any more than I would support any type of fascism, any type of Nazism, any type of totalitarianist rule. This is all born of hate. It is not going to go away. We must now take up our courage. We must now take a stand. And we must now put down these actions and end the support for these terrorists coming from the United States. Make no mistake about it. They are here. They are subverting our country. If you support these people, please, by all means, get yourself on the next boat or plane and go over to where they are and see what life is like over there. Because we cannot have this here. They've no right to be hoisting their flag, defacing our monuments, spitting upon our way of life. They do not get a pass here, ladies and gentlemen. It is my considered opinion, knowing what in history and through history, how these people have acted, killing hostages, taking hostages, killing hostages, attacking people unprovoked, and then running and hiding and trying to blame someone else for it, and taking the hostages that they've been holding and killing them. It is my considered opinion that the Israeli government should be let to do what they need to do to finish this so that this doesn't happen anymore. We as Americans are their ally. Should we support Israel? Absolutely. Should we give them support? Absolutely. Should we be telling them, oh no, go for a ceasefire? Let this play out, or let's see what else we can do? No, that's not our place. And frankly, my personal opinion is no. They should not go for any more deals with ceasefires. The time for that is long past. It is plainly obvious these people are not intending to give back the people that they're holding as hostage. So now Israel must do what Israel must do. All of that having been said, this has been a special edition of Politicking with Mr. B. If you like what you've seen, please, by all means, spread the word, share it, tell your friends, come on in, have a look at things. We're going to be closing it out here, and we're going to go out, and we pray to God, ladies and gentlemen, that we don't see any more school shootings. We pray to God that this terrible thing over in Israel is over soon. And we will see you all again next week. I'm Mr. B. Have a good week, everyone. We'll see you next week.
You have just watched an FFN Network production.